So the last thing we have are these puzzler questions. As I said, the end of each chapter, the author gives us these questions for discussion, these puzzlers, which is sort of like a little bit of grammar one kind of poking over our shoulder saying, hey, how do you solve this, grammar nerd? Because these are some weird exceptions and tricky questions that if we think about it, we can answer, but they are at first sight a little bit weird. So let me share with you as we take this one apart a little bit. All right, so come back over here. Make it a little larger for us. I can work with that. And let's do a fun color. Look at that, magenta. Who wouldn't be happy about that? All right, so the first one says, what's the difference between the two sentences? My husband made me a chocolate cake. My husband made me a happy wife. Well, structurally, they look pretty similar. All right, just to let you know, like you have husband, husband, made, made, me, me. You have a noun, you have an action verb, you have a noun, and you have a noun. But they're very different sentences, obviously. And so one is saying my husband made a chocolate cake, or my husband made me a chocolate cake, rather, and my husband made me a happy wife. Well, there's something very critically different about them. If you think about it, anytime I have a noun, action verb, noun, noun, I have two choices. One of them could be a pattern 8. This is where we have an indirect object. But it could also be a pattern 10, where you have the objective complement. Think about the difference. In an indirect object, you're going to hop over it to the direct object and then come backwards to your indirect object. But in an objective complement, you're going to go straight across because that last noun's renaming the direct object. So when I read this one, which one do I really go straight across to? My husband made me a chocolate cake. My husband made me a happy wife. I pause. And now hopefully you're saying the B sentence is the one that you go straight across from. It's true. This is a nice little pattern 10 because you're saying my husband made me into a wife. All right. So think about that. You're simply saying in a very short version here, husband made me to be. Remember, you can have those imaginary expletives. He made me to be, boom, a happy wife. But up here, this is a nice little pattern 8. I should change my color because that could be confusing. All right, let's get this a little cleaner. Oh, there's orange. I know you love you, orange. Here I'm saying husband is not making me. He's making a cake, direct object, down here for me. Remember, here's that word for, which is imaginary. And so structurally, though, the point the author's bringing up here is the fact that, like, structurally they look exactly the same. But how do I know to read it one way as opposed to the other way? And that's sort of our grammar gut. Our grammar gut just says, look, this couldn't be an 8. This couldn't be a 10. If this were a 10, my husband made me to be a chocolate cake. That'd be like waking up in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you're covered in lathered in icing and thinking, what in the world's happening? And your husband's saying, well, I'm making you into a cake. My husband's not making me to be a cake. He's making a cake for me. Same thing as the second one couldn't possibly be an 8. My husband made me a happy wife. If it were an 8, you have to say my husband made a happy wife for me. Like, that's weird. Like, husband, like what are you doing down in the basement all week long? Like, well, I've been making something, and surprise, I'm making another wife. Like, he's not making a wife for you. He's making you to be a happy wife or into a happy wife. And your husband's not making you into to be a cake, but he's making a cake for you. And the thing is, structurally they look exactly the same. So there's something in our grammar gut tells us which one that is, because visually there's nothing that I can tell you other than your grammar gut tells you which one it is. All right. Last example. Are these sentences really pattern 3? Think about a pattern 3. And in order to help you think about it, I'm going to go to a color. I'm not sure what that beige. Golly, that's ugly. All right, let's go here. So we have a pattern 3. Remember, a pattern 3 is going to be a noun. It is a to be verb, and then it is a noun. And this is a noun phrase 1, and this is a noun phrase 1, where this noun phrase 1 is renaming this noun phrase 1. All right, so my shoes are the wrong color. All right, well, I know it's a noun because of the word the, so my shoes are the wrong color. Diagramming wise, you'd say shoes are the wrong color. Or this wallpaper is an odd pattern. Wallpaper is pattern. But think about it. It's not really a pattern 3. It's this word color is not really renaming shoes. Shoes are not a color. And wallpaper is not a pattern. We're not saying that the shoes are of the wrong color or the wallpaper is an odd pattern. Think about what verb we probably should use instead. Yes, I can hear you all saying it. What we really should be saying is we should say the shoes have the wrong color, or this wallpaper has an odd pattern, because shoes are not a color. No one says, "Oh my gosh, have you seen the new line of shoes that are being out for this fall?" Oh no, what color's in this year? Oh, shoe. The color shoe is really in this year. Everyone's wearing shoe. Like, shoe is not a color, and wallpaper is not a pattern. It has a pattern, and shoes have a color. Even though we say this is something that we say in speech, but logically it makes no sense. And so therefore, yeah, we say this. Our grammar 1 says, well, it makes sense in my head, but our grammar 2 says, but it's not really correct. So I like those two puzzlers. I like the fact that this one, the first, number 5 kind of shows us that our grammar gut's important, and number 6 shows us that sometimes your grammar gut is actually wrong. So cool. All right, I'm going to say that for you.